One of the most significant and remarkable discoveries of the 20th century was the excavation of Tutankhamun, which gained worldwide press coverage when the ancient Egyptian pharaoh's tomb was located and then opened. The young pharaoh came onto the throne at the age of around 8 or 9, and he is seen as an important ruler restoring ancient Egyptian religion, along with temples, images and the stories of the old gods. He unexpectedly died very young, at the age of either 18 or 19, after spending a decade on the throne. He was the last of his royal family to rule during the end of the 18th dynasty, ruled in the years 1332 to 1323 BC. However, once his tomb was opened, a mythical and bizarre curse came to the forefront, with the curse of the pharaohs being linked to the deaths of many involved in the excavation of King Tut's sarcophagus. So join us today as we look at the curse of Tutankhamun, and remember as always to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Tutankhamun was a slightly built man, roughly around 5 feet 6 inches tall. Many different theories have been put forward about his death and what killed him, but many different scans have taken place over the years to determine what killed the young pharaoh. It's been suggested he suffered from many different syndromes, and possibly even epilepsy, which he could have inherited from his father. CT scans have also shown that he possibly had a cleft palate and also scoliosis, with a clubfoot in his leg, and further issues with his mobility. DNA was also obtained that contained several strains of a parasite associated with malaria, and it's believed these malarial infections could have caused an immune response and triggered blood flow to be restricted to his heart. There are no surviving records as to what definitely killed King Tut, and it's been subject to much debate, but it's most probable that a combination of a number of disorders, a leg fracture caused by a fall, and it was malaria that caused his death. He could also have possibly suffered from sickle cell anemia. His tomb was rather small considering his high status, which suggests that the death was unexpected, and that there wasn't much time to complete a grand tomb. His mummy was buried in a tomb for someone else, and it was robbed a number of times, probably within a few months of the initial burial. However, over time, the location of the tomb was lost and covered up. During the 20th century, grand efforts were made to excavate the Valley of the Kings, and Theodore Davis had uncovered 10 tombs in the area, and he found several objects talking about King Tut, but feared he had discovered everything that was needed. In 1907, Howard Carter was invited to excavate for the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, George Herbert, and after a search Carter discovered the actual tomb of Tutankhamun in November 1922. After clearing work that took months, on the 17th of February 1923, with around 20 people witnessing, including Carnarvon, at 2 o'clock the seal of the tomb was broken. Inside were 5,000 items including archery bows, a solid gold coffin, face mask, throne, trumpets, furniture, food, wine and so much more. It took over a decade to catalogue everything in there, and the discovery of the burial goods was a remarkable and incredible moment in history. However, since the mid-20th century, there has been much debate also surrounding the possibility of a curse linked to those people who disturbed a mummy of ancient Egypt, especially those who disturbed a pharaoh. The curse, it's said, does not discriminate, affecting those thieves or Egyptologists who broke the seal, and a number of strange phenomena have emerged from this. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb ramped up talk about a possible curse. No curse was found inscribed or written inside the tomb, unlike in others. In another tomb belonging to a pharaoh from the 9th or 10th dynasty, there was an inscription that translated to, "As for all men who shall enter my tomb impure, there will be judgment, an end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird. I shall cast the fear of myself into him." The curse around King Tut emerged when a number of Howard Carter's team died shortly after the tomb was opened, alongside a number of high-profile visitors to the tomb. One famous Egyptologist who worked with Carter, James Henry Braisted, stated how Carter sent a messenger to take a message to his house. When the messenger got there, he noticed a cry from inside the house, and when he entered, he saw his birdcage, which was filled with a cobra, the sign of the Egyptian monarchy. Carter's canary had been eaten by the cobra, and locals began to believe that something evil had occurred, but things became much more deadly. Lord Carnarvon, who sponsored the excavation of the tomb, died on the 5th of April 1923, less than 2 months after the opening. He had been a big financial backer and had been bitten by a mosquito. Whilst Carnarvon was shaving, he caught his bite, slashing it, and the wound became infected. He then suffered with blood poisoning, and his death was believed by some as punishment for disturbing the tomb. Even Benito Mussolini, the later dictator of Italy, would refuse the gift of a mummy from Egypt as he believed in the curse. The writer of Sherlock Holmes even attributed the death of Carnarvon to spirits created by priests of the pharaoh who were brought in to guard the tomb against robbers. It was even said that when inspections of Tutankhamun's mummy first occurred, he had a healed wound on his left cheek, similar to the one on Carnarvon's. Also strangely, Carnarvon's dog died almost exactly at the same time as his owner, letting out a mournful howl before dying. There were other deaths that some attribute to the curse of Tutankhamun. George J. Gold I, a financier and railroad executive, visited the tomb, but within a year of doing so he died on the French Riviera, following a fever he developed after his visit to Egypt. Arthur Cruttendon Mace was an Egyptologist and part of Carter's team who worked on Tut's tomb. He was an expert in preservation and helped to catalogue and remove many of the objects found there, and he was very close to Carter. He spent more time in Egypt but was forced to leave because he suffered from pleurisy. This then led to pneumonia, and he ended up dying in 1928 in Sussex, but it's believed his illness was caused by his activities and living in Egypt. Howard Carter's secretary even died, being murdered by smothering in a Mayfair club in 1929. Some believe that Howard Carter himself was not exempt from the curse of Tutankhamun, but this is a little different. He was the man who opened the tomb and was the leader of the excavation, but 16 years later he died. Some believe his extreme loneliness in later life and misery was the curse haunting him. However, it's up to you what you believe. It's important to consider that many of those who entered the tomb seem to have been immune to any curse or bizarre happenings. The curse of the pharaohs is still believed by some today, and there have definitely been a few strange things, such as a snake eating the canary, associated with those who disturbed the tomb of King Tut. Once again, thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.